In this video I'm going to talk about how to replace the seat belt in the Boxster. I don't know if this is the same as the Cayman. In the Boxster it's a relatively simple process, so I'll show you how to do that. It's probably about 5 minutes worth of work. Something that I will mention now, which is related to the seat belt but not related to removal. This little sleeve here, I've seen reviews on these cars before where people said that this thing rattling around just drove them absolutely mad and they thought the design of the whole thing was completely stupid. That's what this slide is for. So, especially on the passenger side where someone's been in there, it's sitting there like that, pull it up like that, and it'll hold it there and then it doesn't rattle. So, just thought I'd mention it. Before you start, what I would do, get the seat fully forward. If you've got electric seats, then motor that forward and then either disconnect the battery or certainly don't have the ignition on during any of this process, because the seatbelt pretensioner sits on the reel, which sits down here. We're going to have to disconnect that, and if the ignition's on, then that is going to give you errors and you'll need POS to reset those or some tool to do that. So make sure you don't put power to the car. Certainly the workshop manual talks about removing all electrical power, so disconnecting the battery for this. So I would suggest going ahead and doing that. The way this all fits together is a single connection point here on the chassis. There's a M10 triple square that has a cap over the top, so we remove that. And then we're going to disconnect some trim down here to get access to the reel. There's another single M10 triple square bolt that sits in behind here. You remove it and the thing just pulls straight out. So to remove the cap off the top here, that just pulls off like that. This little thing that just holds onto it there, and then I'm just going to get my M10 triple square. Obviously the seat needs to be forward to get access to it, and then I can just remove that. This bolt, as well as the one in under here, take 50 Newton meters on install. When you remove this one, there's a spacer that sort of helps hold it in the correct spot, a little bit away from the carpet. So just make sure that gets installed in the correct position when you're putting everything back together again. So there's the bolt there, there's that spacer there, so obviously that's going to go like that. On install we can pull that off, remove the bolt, and now we can remove this trim down here. The first thing we need to do is remove the rail along the side here. The one on the passenger side doesn't have a switch set in it, the one on the driver's side obviously does. That just pulls straight up and off. That. There are a bunch of clips along the bottom here that get pushed into place. You don't need to disconnect the electrical connection. I'm doing this on the driver's side at the moment. All we're trying to do is get access to this bit here, because that plunger at the end there, that one there, pokes down into that. So we need to release that so we can remove this trim piece here. And now what we're going to do is remove this piece here, then that piece there, and then a few things that actually hold the seatbelt together. So to remove this piece here, I'm just going to get a trim tool, I'm going to get it underneath here, and just unclip that, like so. And then this slides onto some pieces that go into here. So what we want to do is lift this up and away like that, and then slide that away so that comes nice and free. This is made of a number of pieces. It's easy for these to sort of get unclipped away from each other, so make sure when you're installing that they are connected correctly together when we slide that back on. Additionally, this here is made of a couple of pieces, and it's easy to sort of pull this out and disconnect the trim pieces on the rollover hoops. So just make sure that we gently slide those down so these don't get separated. Then that thing can just sit over the top like that. And then there's just a plastic piece that sits over the top here. And then what we can do is remove this bar, which is the thing that the belt sits on. This is going to be in the way, so you can sort of just lift that up a little bit. If you need to, that's going to take an M16 to remove that. And with that like that, that thing will just rotate out of the way. We can take the seat out of the side, and then we can just pull that up and out. This thing here just slots down into a hole on this black bracket here. Now what we're going to do is remove this piece here. It's clipped into a position there, and a position down the bottom here. So we can, it's probably easiest just to get this trim out of the way. We'd need to get that out of the way later on for fitting anyhow. But we're going to pull that off like that and just out of the way. And then we can push that outwards. There's another one in underneath here, like that, and then that just pulls up and out of the way like that. So the places that it goes into, that one there goes into there, on there goes into a slot in there. Sometimes these will get pulled out and be in there, so you'll just need to pry that out and put it back into there prior to install. And then from there we just need to remove the foam that covers everything up here. It's just a single plunger here, just with a screwdriver. This is just a rivet removal tool. It just pulls out really easily. It's just sort of a funny wedge shape. And then that piece of foam comes out, and now you can see the seatbelt reel here. To unplug the seatbelt pre-tensioner unit, it's that plug there, so you'll need to get a baby screwdriver, dig it in underneath there, and pop that little orange plunger sideways. So that plunger is now out like that, and then that whole thing can just get popped straight out. And now, in underneath just here is the triple square bolt. So it sort of sits right there. The problem is the carpet's in the way. So you don't have to pull the whole carpet out. All we need to do is just pull the speaker cover out. That can just get pulled out a little bit there. So I'll remove the triple square bolt, which is that one down there. So there's that bolt. Now it's just sitting on that lug there, and this whole thing can just get lifted out. Obviously, it can just be replaced. So for installation, we're just going to put that like that. We're going to sit it on that sort of funny T-shaped lug, and then we're going to install the screw, 50 Newton meters. Attach the electrical connector. Once that's in, push the orange plunger into place, and now we can move that carpet back into the right spot. Then we can put the foam in. That's going to sit in underneath there like that. You need to find where that hole is, put that in the right spot. Then we're going to put this piece in here. 3 plungers down the bottom need to go into spots there, there and there, so make sure that they're aligned. And then I find the easiest thing to do is look in underneath it, find where that hole goes into there, and then once that's done, push that into place gently, making sure it's aligned correctly, and then we can look for the one at the top. Once this trim piece is in, install the bar here, single screw there, 45 Newton meters. Then the piece of plastic will sit over the top of it like that, and then we can install this piece here, thread that through the slot. Of all the trim pieces, this is one of the hardest to fit correctly, but once you know how, it's not so bad. So what we're going to do is slide it along there on the trim on the rollover hoop. There are 2 clips here, which we're still going to sit in the right spots here, but not push those home. And then there are 2 lugs there that sit into holes into this little metal piece here. What we're going to do is wiggle this around and check that it actually sits down firmly in there and it's correctly aligned, and then we're able to push these home. If you don't do it like that, it's really hard to align these and it just won't sit properly. So nice and gentle so it doesn't pull apart any of these pieces. We'll push that and slide that up there like that. I'm going to push this in here, so these are sort of, you can feel them sort of just in the right spot. There's a plastic plunger here above the clip, just there. And I'm going to look that that's aligned and in the right spot. And now this is what I'm sort of going to move this around. And you'll feel it goes click into place like that. Make sure the seal goes in the right spot. These 2 aren't home, but this is all now in the correct position, and I can push that home, and now that's in the correct position. And then from there I can go ahead and fit the triple square with the spacer down the bottom, 50 Newton meters, and then finally put the seal in place, as well as the trim piece down here. Just push that into place, and you're done.